Today's video is going to be all about intermittent fasting, including my routine, the benefits of fasting, mistakes that I've made in the past and learned from, and how now I just let it all be super easy. Make sure you stay tuned until the end of the video for the Q&A from questions that I received from all of you guys from Instagram. If you're new here, my name is Kathleen and I'm a mindset and weight loss coach. I share on YouTube what works for me and how I lost and maintain my 65-pound weight loss. If you want to join any of my programs for mindset and weight loss, the links are all down below in this video. So first, let's get into my routine for fasting. It has changed recently, so this is completely updated. I have switched to only black coffee in the morning. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I make sure that I have a lot of water. So I will drink a 30-ounce bottle of water. This Yeti is my favorite. I will drink that before I even have my coffee. So I've already got 30 ounces in the books. It's done. And then I have a black iced coffee for my Nespresso. I'm absolutely obsessed with the coconut iced coffee pods. I just think they're perfect and they're not too bitter. They have a good flavor. It's not too coconutty, just amazing. So I will have that coffee probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then I will have a second Yeti by the time I eat lunch. So my lunch, I'm always gonna be making sure that I've got enough fat, protein, and fiber in each of my meals. So it's really important for me that I have fat and protein because it keeps me full. That can sometimes be the hardest thing, is that I have a lot of people ask me all the time, how do you not get hungry all the time? I make sure I have fat and I make sure I have a lot of protein, and that's how I stay full. The fiber is also an added benefit for obvious reasons, but I usually break my fast with a sandwich or a big huge salad with a lot of toppings in it. I have leftovers from the night before. I'll do a yogurt bowl and like a frittata cup. So many different options. You guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you see me post my food all of the time. And I love when you guys recreate my food. I think that's awesome. But I try to keep it fun. I try to keep it interesting and whatever I'm craving. So if I'm craving a bagel with cream cheese, I will have a low carb bagel with cream cheese. You know, I will make it work. Same thing, if I feel like a turkey sandwich, I will have a turkey sandwich. If I feel like a big Italian salad, I will make a big Italian salad. If we had spaghetti and meatballs the night before, and that's what I feel like breaking my fast with, and I've got the leftovers, I will have that, 1000%. So really, the more I can eat intuitively, the more successful I am with not only like my low carb lifestyle, but also maintaining my fasting window and my fasting schedule. So after I eat lunch, I'm pretty good for a little bit. If I do get hungry in the afternoon, I love to make a smoothie. I've been so into smoothies lately, and I feel like they just really hit the spot for me like mid-afternoon. You can tackle the sweet tooth craving if you have one. You can tackle, you know, wanting to fill up your stomach if you are getting hungry, that weird time after lunch before dinner. And I feel like you can jam pack so many nutrients into a smoothie and get all the extras that you need. And also, it's very easy to calculate the protein, the fiber, and the fat that go into a smoothie, especially if you're doing scoops of protein powder or putting in different ingredients. It's a great way to really get a, you know, macro-friendly snack in. If you guys would like to see my full smoothie recipe, it is definitely linked down below, and it's also in the video from last week. I will also put that down in the description box down below. It's the best smoothie ever, and I make it all the time now. And I find that if I eat protein, and like I said, protein, fat, and fiber in every single meal or snack, it just keeps me full and it keeps me on track. One of the mistakes that I made early on was breaking my fast with snacks, and that was totally derailed me, because what would happen is I would eat these little snacky things, and then I would continue to eat snacky things all day long and never sit down for a full meal. And when I do that, I found that I was really sluggish. I kind of felt blah. I just didn't feel good, and my body definitely wasn't getting the nutrients that it wanted, or the fat or the protein, so I ended up being super hungry not long after I was eating these snacks. Even if the snacks were healthy snacks like a string cheese or a beef stick or nuts or something like that, or like the snack mix that I like. It wasn't that these snacks were bad, but you need to eat a meal. That was one of the main things that I learned really early on. And the other thing I learned was that I'm not eating less, but that I'm mindful of how much I'm eating. Like, you still need to eat enough inside your eating window. So even though your eating window is closed, it doesn't mean I'm eating one less meal. It just means I'm trying to pack all of my food for the day into that smaller eating window. So I still tracked my calories, I still tracked my carbs early on when I was trying to figure this all out, and I still had to make sure and plan to make sure I could eat all the food that I was having in one day in this smaller eating window. So my lunch I usually eat, like I said, around 12, 12:30, sometimes 1, sometimes 1:30, and I'll get back to the times a little bit later in the video. But after I have my lunch, then I'll see how I feel. I might have that smoothie around 3 o'clock. That's usually my sweet spot. So if I eat lunch around 12, 3 o'clock is usually my smoothie. And I try not to eat it too late so that I don't spoil my dinner. I know that sounds like so silly, but it's so true because I love food so much. I don't want to eat at the wrong time and eat too much and then ruin the dinner that I have planned. Because if you guys know me, you know I love planning my dinners like early in the morning with my husband. We figure out what we're gonna have later in the day, and then I look forward to it all day long. So I don't want to ruin that by having that smoothie or having a snack too late in the afternoon. But usually we will eat dinner and be finished by 6:30. So for dinner, I will make all different kinds of things. I've got tons of recipes on my blog. If you are interested or need some inspiration for your low carb lifestyle, my blog is always linked down below. It has tons of recipes and they're all amazing. Like, I still go and make all of my own recipes all of the time. So sometimes we'll have like chicken piccata bowls, or like I said, we'll have spaghetti and meatballs with garlic bread and a big fresh salad. Last night I actually made sausage, peppers, and onion bowls with black bean pasta, some Victoria sauce. My black bean spaghetti is my absolute favorite, by the way. That is amazing. And then I will just put some marinara sauce on there with the sausage and peppers. Oh my gosh, it is the best dinner ever. It's just a different take on kind of an Italian classic, but just making it low carb and making it super delicious. I absolutely love this meal. And I'll serve it with a big green salad. Love having salads. Leafy greens are your best friend, I'm telling you. And I just love the fact that on low carb, like, I can have my favorite salad dressing. My mouth's watering. Seriously, these dinners are all things that I look forward to and all things that I like. So if you've been following me, you know what I'm gonna say next. Eat your favorites. Don't give up your favorites. That was something else that I kind of thought I had to do, a mistake that I made back in the day when I was doing, you know, intermittent fasting for the first time. I really thought that I had to eat very, very, very healthy food, like chicken and broccoli, like those kind of meals, and it's so not true. You can still eat your favorites, just make sure that the macros fit into your lifestyle. So for me, I follow low carb, and I feel like low carb and intermittent fasting just kind of go hand in hand and really work well together, for me especially. So any meal that I'm craving, I make it low carb. I just find a way. If I want to eat pizza, I make a homemade low carb pizza. Or if I'm craving hot dogs, I make hot dogs and sauerkraut with low carb buns. And same thing, tacos. If I really want tacos, which we have once a week around here, I find low carb tortillas and I make my tacos the way I love making them. Lettuce, tomato, taco sauce, cheese, sour cream. That's it. So I find a way to make it work, and that's how I think I've been so successful on this journey. Not only losing the weight, but now maintaining it for months and months and months now. One of the other mistakes that I made and that I figured out was that I needed more electrolytes in my diet because of the way that I was fasting. So I would encourage you to research that on your own if that's something that you think you might need. But for me, I drink at least 1 electrolyte water a day. So you can buy the electrolyte waters from the grocery store. You could also buy packets that you mix into water at home, or you can just make your own. So I like to make my own with some cold water mixed with some pink Himalayan sea salt and then a squeeze of lemon juice. And I love having this in the afternoon, either before or after my snack, and just kind of sipping on this. It actually tastes like a treat. I know it might sound weird, like salty water, but to me it just tastes so good. And if you're hesitant, add in some lemon or lime juice, and let me tell you, it literally will become a treat for you. It's so good. It adds in those electrolytes that I know my body needs, and it just really makes me feel so much better. So much better. And then I will go on to drink the rest of my water throughout the day. So for me, I drink 120 ounces of water a day, with including that electrolyte water. So usually I'll do 3 Yetis of just plain water and 1 Yeti of the electrolyte water, and I'm already at my 120 ounces. So by the time dinner comes, I've already had 3 of those, and then I have the last one before bed. But usually I stop my eating window by 7 p.m. and then I'm good to go. During my fasting window, all I have is black coffee, like I said, in the morning, and then at night, if I feel like a hot tea, but it's been so hot here. Reason my hair is up right now, it's been so hot. This heat wave is nuts, but I haven't been wanting that hot tea at night. So instead I've just been having like a bubbly or a sparkling water of some sort while I do my coaching calls, and that's pretty much it. And I feel like this has been my new fasting routine. I've been doing this with the black coffee now for probably about a month and a half, and I've been absolutely loving it. If you're looking for good black coffee on the go, my favorite of the moment has got to be Dunkin' Donuts cold brew. Just get it black. It's so good. It has hints of chocolate and it's just really good, not bitter at all. Love it. That's my #1 favorite right now. It's a little pricey, I know this, but if you use the app, you can get points and then you can get free beverages. I do that all the time. So that's awesome. But then my second favorite has gotta be McDonald's iced coffee. It's so good. So I just get a large iced coffee usually in the morning if I'm on the go and I'm not home making it in my Nespresso, and I will get the McDonald's iced coffee black, and it's delicious. Like I said, it's not bitter, it's amazing. So those are definitely my top 2 favorites right now. I know everybody's gonna say, what about Starbucks? Starbucks, I love Starbucks, don't get me wrong, but for black coffee, I'm not a fan. To me, it's a little bit too bitter, but I do like the Starbucks you can buy at the store with the green cap. That one's great, but like I said, if I have the Nespresso and I'm drinking it at home, I'm just gonna use the Nespresso in the pods that I already have. So I'm gonna go into a little bit of the benefits of fasting right now and just kind of tell you why I started doing it. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's a buzzword. And I feel like a lot of times people will start doing things because it is a buzzword and you're like, well, wait, everyone seems like they're fasting. Should I be fasting? Like, maybe I should. If you feel like that, try it. Try it. It might be for you. You might love it and you might not. But you have to try something in order to know if you like it. So the reason why I started fasting was because I was finding that I just don't really love breakfast foods. And it's funny, I was talking to a client about this the other day. When I was in high school, I literally did not eat until lunchtime. And I just wasn't hungry in the morning. I felt like I didn't need to eat. But by the time lunchtime rolled around, like, I was ready to go. And I would eat, like, you know, high school lunch food. But for the breakfast and morning time, I just wasn't hungry. So before I even knew what I was doing, I was intermittent fasting. And then fast forward a little bit till I got into my 20s and everybody was like, well, you gotta eat breakfast. And then the whole thing back then was like, you have to eat every couple of hours. You should be eating 6 small meals a day. And it's like, so much information is always thrown at us. I feel like the more you can go in intuitively and say, okay, what works for me? What do I feel like doing? You're always gonna be better off. So after I had my son, I started intermittent fasting, and we're gonna kind of go into why I did it and another mistake that I made. So when I started intermittent fasting with him, I followed the cruise control diet, and I was drinking a cruise control coffee in the morning, which is like butter and MCT oil in there, and I was just miserable. I was miserable, but I knew that I didn't want to eat breakfast. So I knew I was on the right track for something, but I still had to work out the kinks. So when I had a time limit on my eating window, back then, I would actually have a timer on my phone that said when I could eat. You would be laughing so hard if you could have seen me back then. I was like checking my watch every 2 seconds, looking at the stove. What time is it? You know, when can I eat? Oh, I still have another 15 minutes. It was stressing me out so bad. It made me so hungry. Even after doing it for weeks and weeks and weeks, I still felt like having those strict timelines on my eating window for opening and closing my window that I just couldn't do it. And I eventually gave up. And then I got pregnant with my daughter. And then this whole journey happened where I was like, okay, I'm doing intermittent fasting again when I'm ready after I was postpartum with her. And I'm like, I'm doing it differently this time. I didn't set any timers. I didn't do anything. I literally just intuitively ate and said, okay, I know I don't want to have breakfast. When do I start getting hungry? And it was around lunchtime again. And the pressure was totally off. The mindset work that I had to do around that was huge, but it really paid off in the end because now I have this eating window that's so natural and it feels so good. Are there days, some days when I'm really hungry early in the morning? Yeah, sure. But then I have some water or I have another coffee and I'm good to go. And I just push my window back a little bit further. But 90% of the time I'm fine until lunchtime. So same thing goes for at nighttime. Back in the day, I was so nervous to end my eating window. And I've talked to people who agree with me that this is what happens to them too. So you get close to the end of your eating window. It's the end of the night. You're not hungry, but you're like looking at your watch and you're like, well, I have to stop eating in half an hour to do my fast, like my perfect fast. I think I'm gonna eat something just in case I get hungry in an hour from now and I can't eat then. And it's like, no, it's such self-sabotage. So instead of doing that, I really try to eat intuitively. And I really found that once my body got into a rhythm of when I eat, and when I stop eating, that the cravings go away, the hunger pains go away. Your body just gets used to the new eating window, for me at least. That's another thing I learned, was that I cannot put a time limit on it. I have to go intuitive. And I know some people might say that is also a buzzword, but intuitively, if you can really get to know yourself and your body and create a lifestyle around what you like and what fits into your day and how you want to eat, that's the best life ever, literally. So what I've done is be more intuitive and just see, okay, am I hungry? Am I not hungry? When do I want to eat? Some people want to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some people just want to, have a smaller fasting window. Some people want to fast for 24 hours. Whatever it is that works for you, try it, do it, see what your results are. But never put too much pressure on yourself. And what I tell my clients is, if you ever find that you're trying to do something in your health and wellness journey and you feel like you're hitting resistance, like, oh, I don't really want to do that, don't do it. Don't do it. If something feels good to you though, and you're like, I want to try that. That sounds really interesting. I really want to try that. Go for it. Go for it, and see how you feel, always. So here are some benefits to why I really like intermittent fasting, and I always say to people, if it feels good to you, try it and see how it works, and then see if it's something that you can fit into your healthy lifestyle. So intermittent fasting has been proven to boost your metabolism, which helps you burn more fat, which is ultimately how you can accomplish your weight loss goals. Allowing your body to rest is the perfect way to burn some fat. So I found that for me, it really helped with my last weight loss journey to literally melt the fat away very quickly. So once I incorporated that with the mindset work of letting it be easy, the weight loss journey just got super simple for me. Intermittent fasting can also reduce insulin resistance, and it can also help lower blood sugar levels. So this is great for also your metabolism, burning fat, losing weight. And some new studies that have just come out have actually shown that it can reduce inflammation, which is awesome. There are so many videos out there on YouTube with diets that help reduce inflammation, and it can also help with so many other diseases where inflammation can cause problems. So like I said, if intermittent fasting is something that you want to try, always say go for it. You guys know I'm huge on mindset, I'm huge on brain, healthy body, healthy mind. Intermittent fasting is also great for your brain health, which I absolutely love. It can actually increase the growth of new neurons and improve your brain health overall. They're doing so many studies right now about intermittent fasting that there's like always new information coming out, but I just read something that intermittent fasting can also help improve Alzheimer's disease, and it can also help you live a longer life. So I don't know, there's something about this. It feels good for me. I always lead with my gut and lead with my intuition, and I feel like this just feels good for me in my body, especially right now in my stage of life. It's so nice to wake up in the morning, not have to worry about feeding myself. I know that sounds silly, but with the hustle and bustle of my 2 dogs, my husband getting ready for work, my kids running around, like, it's just nice that I don't have to worry about making myself breakfast and all that. I'm not even hungry. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the Q&A part of this. I'm so excited. I asked you guys over on Instagram, do you have any questions about fasting or my routine or all of the things? And I didn't expect the response that I got, like all of the questions that I got. So I'm gonna go through a couple of the most common ones right now, and let's get on into it. Okay. First question, what should you start and break your fast with? And there's a couple questions like this. Another one was, what do you break your fast with? Protein, carbs, both, does it matter? And I think I answered this earlier, but I'm gonna just dive into it one more time just to be really clear. So for me, I found that when I was snacking and breaking my fast with keto ice cream, or even like the worst was like keto ice cream, keto chocolate, just because I felt like it and I thought I could have it, or snacky things, or a small meal, like not an actual full meal, like maybe a protein bar or just a cheese snack or something like that, I just didn't feel good for the whole rest of the day. I think that first meal really matters, especially for me. So I would make sure that you're having enough protein and enough fat. I personally follow a low carb diet, so my carbs are going to be low regardless. And I find that this is a great way to not only give me a boost of energy, it doesn't make me feel fatigued, it makes me feel like I'm ready to go, I feel satisfied, and it also helps me keep my portions in check. So when I'm eating carbs, me personally, I overeat every single time. So for a low carb diet, it's great because I'm able to eat my portion and not feel so tired and bloated and full that I need to lay on the couch for an hour. So I would highly recommend, if you are, even if you're not low carb, break your fast with something that has a fat, has protein, and has fiber, and has lower amounts of carbs, and I guarantee you will start your eating window off with success. Do you intermittently fast every single day? I do, but my mindset work has taught me that I don't need to be super specific to the exact minute every single day. So a lot of people will think like, oh, well, I can't go out to dinner with friends on a Friday night because my fasting window ends at 7. It's like, no, you go out and you live your life. You don't have to stop just because you're fasting now. That's the beauty of creating a healthy lifestyle. It doesn't have to be 100% all or nothing every single time. So many people think that, and really that's what holds us back from reaching a healthy lifestyle that we can maintain long term. You have to be okay with the fluctuations. So for me, if we're going out to dinner and I'm eating dinner at 8 or 9 o'clock, that's fine. If I want to eat the next day at 12 still, that's fine. If I have a smaller, fasting window for one day, it's not a big deal. If I feel like extending it and keeping it at a 16 or 17 hour fast like normal, that's fine too. So really, I think it's more about consistency than it is about perfection. All or nothing doesn't work. Wipe that slate clean, get that out of your mind. Instead, focus on being consistent and doing the best you can every day, and always focus on what went right, not what went wrong. Everything is a learning experience, nothing is a failure. Okay, someone said, I struggle with late night snacking. Do you as well? Or is it not an option because you fast? So in the beginning, definitely my body was used to snacking and eating and, all of the things at certain times. I was used to eating breakfast at 8 o'clock. Same thing at night. Sometimes I would snack late at night and my body was used to it, and my body would be like, okay, like where's our food? Like you normally eat at this time, morning, night, afternoon, So really you have to kind of push through the boundaries of that if you do want to successfully fast. I recently told a story on Instagram, and I believe I did here too, when I just got back from my vacation in Florida. I went to Florida for 5 days back in June for my birthday, and I was eating breakfast because it was so darn hot there, and I had been drinking the night before, just a husband and wife trip. So we were drinking, we were going out, and then the next morning we were going out for breakfast at like 8 or 9 in the morning, and it was super hot. I just felt shaky. I'm like, I need to eat something. So for those 5 days, I actually went back to eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and not going crazy or anything, but eating outside of my normal fasting windows. So what ended up happening was it took me 2 weeks. I wrote it on my calendar. It took me 2 weeks when I got back to get back into my fasting window. And I know one of the questions on here is tips for newbies looking to begin intermittent fasting. This will answer that question as well as the snacking question. So what I had to do was push back my window every day. So when I got back, I woke up and I was immediately hungry at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy. I've been fasting for years at this point, but those 5 days really just messed me up and put me back at square one. But it was a great learning experience, because now I can give you some tips for how I did this for myself. So if you find yourself wanting to eat in the morning or eat late at night, you've got to push back your windows slowly. So for me, when I was starting over again back in June, I pushed back my window just a little bit. So if I got hungry at 8:30, I was like, okay, I'm pushing it till 9. And then I would push it till 9. And then the next day I would get hungry around 9, because that's what your body does. Your body gets used to when you're fueling it. So I would push it back to 9, and then I was like, okay, we're doing 9:30 today. And slowly but surely, I pushed myself back a little by little by little, as much as I felt comfortable with doing. If the next day I wasn't hungry and it was 10 o'clock, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna try to push it. And at 11 o'clock, I was so starving, I was so shaky, I was like, I'm gonna eat. And then before I knew it, within 2 weeks, I was back to my normal eating window of like 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and it was fine. So again, it's the same thing for late night snacking. If you find that you're eating every night at 10 o'clock, maybe close your window at 9:30 now and say, okay, like I'm allowed to snack. Don't deprive yourself if you're used to it and if it's something you enjoy, but make better choices, make good portion control choices, and then lower your window. Close that window in as much as you can. So it might have to be a half an hour each day. You might be able to push it more one day, but I guarantee if you're anything like me, it took me 2 weeks and I was right back to where I wanted to be, and it was perfect. But to answer the late night snacking question specifically, once I stopped doing it and it stopped becoming a habit, I don't have those cravings anymore. And really, it's just about when that hunger hormone ghrelin gets released from your system. If your body is used to eating breakfast every day at 9 o'clock, it's gonna expect that, and your hunger hormone is gonna get released. It's the same thing for if you snack late at night. If you snack at 10 o'clock at night every single night, your body's gonna be like, wait, it's 10 o'clock, like here's your hormone ghrelin, like where's my food? So you have to slowly close that eating window. Shorten it at night, shorten it in the morning, and then you get to the desired window that you want. But it does take a few days. Took me 2 weeks. Okay, this kind of goes back to that last question, but is it okay to switch up how long you fast? And what do you think of OMAD? So, like I said, switching up your fasting, yeah, I love it. I'm always a big proponent of cycling because I feel like when you're confusing your metabolism, you're always winning. So if you're switching up your calories, switching up your carbs, switching up your fasting window, yes, do it, go for it, see what gets you results. Don't fix what's not broken. If you find that you're fasting and you're doing kind of what I'm doing, where you're like, okay, on the weekends I might be fasting these hours and on the weekdays it's easier to fast these hours, go for it. There's no rules. There's so many people out there. There's so many gurus who are telling you this and that and the other thing about dieting, weight loss, fasting, food. Really, go intuitive. What works for you? What feels good to you? Go ahead and do that. I'm a big proponent, as you know, if you've worked with me or if you've been watching any of my videos, you know that I think figuring out what works best for us is always going to be the best thing for you, your body, and your lifestyle. Always. And then what do I think of OMAD? So OMAD is short for 1 meal a day. I personally couldn't do it right now. In the future, maybe. I've never done it. I know people have a lot of success from it. For me, I feel like it would be hard for me to fit in 1,500 to 2,000 calories in one meal sitting down all at once. I think that would be just too much for me, and I would rather enjoy my food. I like to enjoy like a lunch meal. I like to enjoy a snack. I like to enjoy dinner. You know, for me, just having one dinner or one solid meal in the middle of the day, I don't think would work for me at this point, but I say go for it. If you can fit your macros into one meal and you love it and it works for you, go for it, do it. Seriously, I know I've said it like 50 times in this video, but really, that's what you have to lead with. Like, what feels good to you? Do you think the body will adapt to the intermittent fasting routine? Absolutely, I'm proof. I think that you just have to give it time. Always give it time. I've tried it and I feel very nauseous and fatigued. How do I combat that? I would kind of have to know a little bit more, but my first instinct would be to say, make sure you're eating enough protein and enough fat, getting your fiber in, and also make sure you're getting your electrolytes. Fasting has been known to kind of take the electrolytes from us, so you need to replace that. Make sure you're getting your electrolytes, and then also make sure you're drinking enough water. So those would be kind of the couple things that I would focus on first. And always, if you are feeling uneasy about any kind of diet or weight loss change that you're trying to do, talk to your doctor, always. Okay, what time frame do you think is best for weight loss while not screwing up your metabolism? OMAD, 20-hour fast, 4-hour eating window, 18-hour fast, 6-hour eating window. So for me, I feel like this is all trial and error when it comes to you and your body. Again, I know some people that love to do 22-hour fasts. They just love that. And then they're kind of eating that one meal a day and a snack. That's great. For me, I like kind of the 16-8 split where I'm fasting for 16 or 17 hours. I just feel like that really works for me, especially in this season of my life. Will that change? Probably. Does it change, kind of fluctuate a little bit a couple days a week? Yes. And is that okay? Yes. So I think it's all about figuring out what works for you. And for weight loss for you, you might have to play around with it a little bit. So for me, I was fasting around this kind of amount, and then I was doing it a little bit less and a little bit less. So I was doing only like a 13-hour fast or a 14-hour fast when I was first doing my fasting after I was postpartum with my son, and I found that the weight loss wasn't happening as quickly. Then I bumped it up to a 16-hour fast, and the weight started coming off really fast. So really, it's always about trial and error, figuring out what works best for you and your body, and just continuing to do what works and what gets you results. So I don't think there's any right or wrong answer to this. It really just depends on the person. There's not gonna be a one size fits all. What works exactly for me, you could do exactly what I'm doing every day and not have the same results. You could have better results. You could have no results. So really it's just about you and your body and figuring it all out. And that's exactly what we do in all of my mastermind programs and in my one-to-one programs. Like, I work with you directly to figure out what works best for you, what we can tweak, what we can fix, what we can try next to try to spark those results for you. And then once you get there, once you get your sweet spot for losing weight and getting to your goals, we just gotta keep doing what works. Put in the time. That's all it takes then. That's when it gets fun. How useful is it for your body? I know someone asked this, a couple people asked this question, like, what are the benefits? Definitely rewind a little bit and you'll hear about all of the benefits. I think that there's so many, and then do your own research obviously too. There's just so much information on the internet now, just with all of the benefits of doing this. So that's what kind of made me want to try it and kind of made me, you know, jump into it. And then once I started doing it, it just felt so good. So I just kept going with it. Did you ever feel that IF, intermittent fasting, affected your hormones in the beginning? No, because I had done a lot of work for myself on balancing my hormones in my own way. So once I had gotten that under control and then I incorporated the intermittent fasting, it all was amazing. It was amazing. It was a trip for me to figure out my hormone kind of issues, but once I did, everything kind of fell into place, and intermittent fasting was the last piece to my puzzle. If anybody is ever hesitant about like, do I need anything for hormones? Like, is something going on? I would really urge you to go and talk to your doctor about it, get a full hormone panel done, get to the root of the problem. Don't make a problem a problem until it's a problem. So if you feel like this is happening, don't blame it on that and go, I can't lose weight because of my hormones. Go and get the concrete evidence, get a blood test, get the answers, because then you can free up your mindset and really start getting some results. Okay, someone asked about like the eating window. Can you stop your fast at 10 and eat until 7, for example? I don't think there's any right or wrong answer when it comes to your fasting window and your eating window. The only thing I would suggest is, first of all, do what works best for you and your schedule. You know, if you work the night shift, like obviously your eating window is gonna be totally different than mine. But if you're not doing a job like that and you're just like an everyday like 9 to 5 worker, you know, and you're working during the day, I would suggest not eating too close to your actual bedtime, because you need to let your body digest and rest before you physically lay down to go to sleep. So that's why I stop my eating window around 6 or 7, sometimes 8, and then I don't go to bed until midnight or 1 o'clock. So I make sure I like have some of my fasting window is a time when I'm not sleeping. So majority of it obviously is when I'm sleeping, but then there are big chunks before and after the sleeping window where I am not eating anything. So a couple people were asking questions about what is okay when you're fasted. Like, can you put creamer in your coffee? Can you put sweetener in your coffee? Someone said MCT oil in your coffee, ghee or butter, does that break your fast? So I'm not the right person to ask. There's so much different conflicting information out there. I recently had someone reach out to me on YouTube and they commented and said that in a program they were doing, they could make this drink, and because it was under a certain amount of calories and it was low protein and low carb, like you could still have this drink during your eating window. I don't know exactly what it was, but there's so many rules. And it's kind of hard to say for me. You guys know I drank creamer and a Truvia packet in my coffee for years while I was fasted, and it just worked for me. And recently I just switched to doing the black coffee to do a true fast. But you know, I say if you're the kind of person who you need to have your creamer in your coffee and maybe a packet of Truvia, like go for it. If that helps you fast, and if that's the only thing that you have kind of standing in your way, you will work up to it maybe one day. Maybe, it took me years, but maybe one day you'll work up to the point where you don't need that anymore and you can just have a black coffee. So, you know, what I say is if anything feels like resistance, you guys know, if anything feels like you're hitting the wall and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, don't do it yet. And I felt like that about my coffee for a long time, just until recently. So do it intuitively. Does it break your fast? I don't know. I don't know. I would do some research and see, you know, what you can find and what you feel comfortable with, you know, going with. But I know that on the Cruise Control Diet, I love that book, he has you eating or drinking a coffee with butter, sea salt, and MCT oil in it and heavy cream. And he claims that that's fine and doesn't break your fast. So, you know, I feel like everyone's gonna be saying different things. Like I said, go intuitive, see how you feel, and always lead with your intuition. Okay, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes a couple of years ago and was wondering if fasting was safe. I do know that I did read some research about type 2 diabetes, and fasting can help and benefit that because it does help with insulin resistance. But you know what I'm gonna say. I would ask your doctor these questions and see if they think fasting is the right thing for you, your body, based on your history, you know, your medical history, and lead with that. If your doctor gives you the okay, go for it. But with conditions like that, I always say just double check with them just to be sure. I even have an app where I can message my doctor. I would just message them if you can do that. I just message them and say, can I do this? Can I do that? I'm always messaging them. So just, it's an easy question that they could probably answer through a messaging service or through a quick voicemail if you wanted to leave a voicemail for your doctor, and they can look at your chart and just see. But I would always clear things like that with a professional first. So let me know down in the comments, are you a faster? Do you fast? And if so, what is your fasting window? I would love to know. I think it'd be really interesting to kind of get a poll for what everyone's doing. So definitely leave that down in the comments below. If you're looking for any links to my coaching programs, they are going to be linked down in the description box below every video. And exclusive for all of you guys watching, anyone who signs up for my September group mastermind, if you sign up in the month of August, you do get a discount on the price. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you want to take your weight loss journey to the next level and join my mastermind for mindset and weight loss, I am accepting students now. It is starting in September. and we will take you to New Year's. It will be a full end of the year program. There's a private Facebook group. You get full access for lifetime access to my online course for mindset and weight loss, which will walk you through all of the steps for not only losing weight, but repairing your mindset. Remember, this is a different journey. So if you're tired of traditional dieting and you've just had enough of the deprivation, the struggle, the stress, this is the program that you need. We are creating the healthy lifestyle of your dreams, and we are working backwards to get you there. The private Facebook group is awesome because you can post in there as often as you like, and we will have weekly Zoom calls starting at the end of September that will, like I said, carry you all the way through to the end of the year, carry you through the holidays. If you're one of those people who struggle with your weight loss journey during the holidays but just want to crush it this year, this is the program for you. So all of the details are going to be linked down in the description box below. I would love to have you. If you guys are ready, I'm ready. My group masterminds are some of my favorite programs. But with all that said, I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you really soon with my next video. Bye guys.